Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. If you're looking for coaching, please feel free to reach out. There's a couple ways you can do that, and so there's a couple of natures to how to do that at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one will get you in touch with me or a member of my team. We can make something happen from there. First thing there is kind of signs of anxiety. Number one, you don't sleep well. So lack of a good sleep schedule or lack of quality sleep is something that people who struggle with anxiety deal with a lot. That's because even when when their body is ready to ultimately relax, their mind may not be. So their sleep schedule becomes negatively altered and they have difficulty in that direction. The next thing there is kind of having a to do list, having a ultimately kind of too many to do lists. The constant nature of having the to do list in a potentially negative consequence can also be super struggle inducing and super difficult for a number of reasons. When an individual feels that they are constantly, dealing with emotional struggle, dealing with the concept of um, never feeling like they've found the level of connection they want or what they need, it can be super overwhelming for a number of reasons, not limited to the fact that the average person is constantly or almost constantly feeling like they have to get something else done on the list. The list isn't useful any longer because it actually makes the person more stressed out. The next thing is kind of having a checklist and to make sure that, like, mentally checking, have I done what I needed to do? Did I do this right? Did I get this in the right way? In other words, checking oneself multiple times. It could be checking your bank account. It could be checking that you've done something. It could be checking that you made a phone call, returned a text message. But repetitive, almost OCD-like behavior can be a sign of anxiety, especially for a person who is constantly feeling like they haven't done enough. And that's the other side of the challenge. The inability to believe that one has not done enough can become super problematic for a number of reasons. The difficulty as it relates to finding balance with giving oneself time to rest often becomes almost addictive for that individual. The checklist or the balance of did I do enough? Have I been a good enough person? Earning value almost becomes a an addiction for that individual, and they don't even realize that by checking things off or redoing the same thing. Um, and then the next thing there in anxiety is not trusting your decisions. People that are not anxious can often find ways to deal with their gut instincts and follow them through, whereas an anxious person or a person who deals with high level anxiety is an individual who most often will feel like no matter what decision they make, it can be second guessed or it can be potentially a negative if they, jump it too quickly or whatever have you, and that becomes super problematic for a number of reasons, not limited to the fact that not trusting one's own judgment often will make people connect on a level that isn't always, um, in their best interest. Um, kind of going back and forth between whether a person should do something, shouldn't do something, continually can create a level of anxiety that is never ending because every attempt to make a decision leads to more stress. Over, over apologizing and or being more concerned about the level of comfort that another person has as opposed to the level of comfort that an individual has can also be super problematic for a number of reasons, and also making sure that knowing how to step forward from there can be problematic as well. When an individual doesn't understand how to kind of get their emotions under a certain level of control, continual anxiety and or addiction to anxious thinking can become another challenge for a number of reasons in a way that doesn't always serve well and ultimately leads to a lot of challenges and that can be super challenging and or a lot of you know differences there that a lot of people don't necessarily know how to deal with. And again, when you feel overwhelmed, doubting yourself takes you right back through the anxiety loop. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.